If your relationship is recovering from betrayal, an affair, addiction, or other lies, you know that the hardest part of betrayal recovery isn't just the pain, it's not knowing where you are. One week you feel hopeful, the next week you feel devastated again. You think you're making progress, and then a conversation blows up, and you're right back to where you started. The problem is that most couples are trying to recover without a map. And today I'm going to give you the map that I use with couples so that you can see where you are and what needs to happen next. I'm Lara, the illustrating therapist. I use drawings to make relationship patterns easier to see. Let's jump in. In my work with couples, I've noticed that betrayal recovery tends to follow a surprisingly predictable pattern. I think of relationships like a bridge, and betrayal is like an explosion. One moment, the bridge is carrying the weight of the relationship. The next, there is rubble and fire everywhere. The hurt partner is stranded on one side, the acting out partner is stranded on the other, and neither person knows how to get across anymore. Now, if you're like most couples, your first instinct is to try to reconnect, to talk, explain, apologize, try to repair. But that's actually where many couples get stuck because it's way too soon. So let's walk through the rebuilding process with stone and iron. The detonation has happened and they are in the rubble. Stone is the hurt partner and is shattered. Iron is the acting out partner and is ashamed. Everything is a mess and neither of them knows how to start moving forward. Every time Stone brings it up, they end up feeling unheard and triggered, while Iron feels defensive and discouraged. This is stage one of rebuilding, and it is way too early for reconnection. This is crisis mode, a period of shock. The goal is not healing yet. The goal is to cordon off, stabilize, and make sure additional problems don't happen. This is also the time to survey the damage. The conversations that happen during this stage allow each partner to understand the scope of the betrayal and what kinds of lies were actually told. How long has this been going on? How bad was it? What kinds of lies were told? And once you're through crisis mode, each partner begins to rebuild their own side of the bridge. So let's start with a hurt partner. Stone didn't ask for this, didn't cause this, and yet they still have rebuilding to do. It's not fair, but it's true. So, what does Stone actually have to do? They will probably feel some pressure to accept quick apologies, to heal faster, and to move on. But that's not their actual work. Instead, Stone's job is to focus on their own side. They need support because it is hard to do this alone. Friends, a therapist, family, a support group. All of these can provide the scaffolding for rebuilding. And rebuilding means strengthening Stone's sense of self. What matters to them? What gives them strength? Leaning on the skills that they possess. Because this kind of betrayal rocks your sense of safety and identity. So, focusing on how to support themselves is crucial. I always say that a strong relationship requires two strong people, and that is never more true than during betrayal repair. The other thing Stone is doing during this stage is deciding whether this bridge is worth rebuilding. And that's a difficult decision to make when you are exhausted, overwhelmed, and standing in rubble. The stronger their footing becomes, the easier it is to see clearly and to make good decisions. The acting out partner almost always wants to fix this fast. They want their partner to move on. They want quick and easy forgiveness. And you know what? It is way too soon. This middle stage work has to be done in parallel. As Stone is rebuilding their side of the bridge, Iron, the acting out partner, is responsible for rebuilding their own side. And as much as they might want to focus on their partner and their wounds, their real job is to focus on themselves. They need to strengthen themselves enough to really reckon with their capacity for lies and deception. And that means some uncomfortable questions. How do they make it okay to bald face lie to their partner? How did they justify that decision? What did they tell themselves? Did they feel entitled to do this? And how long have they been telling themselves these stories? And most importantly, are they willing to look at this part of themselves clearly so that they can take steps to shift it? Doing this kind of work requires a lot of strength so that they don't shut down in shame or blame their partner. And they could use their own scaffolding, friends, family, a therapist, support groups to support them while they are doing this hard work. Because before Iron can connect with Stone, They may have to start over and pour fresh concrete for a strong foundation. The result will be strength that wasn't there prior to the explosion, but without this, they will always be vulnerable to doing it again. It is absolutely inevitable that one partner will build faster than the other. Stone might have their entire side rebuilt, while iron is still clearing rubble and pouring foundational concrete. And when that happens, stone may want to step in and help, or they might panic or get angry. Will iron ever catch up? But different timing is expected and inevitable. It is also structurally sound. After all, you don't want to build a bridge on shaky ground. The faster partner can't go over there and help out. Believe me, I have seen this happen and it just delays progress. But they can continually evaluate their partner's progress and decide whether they want to wait. During this whole parallel work phase, Stone and Iron are generally still living together. They're still running a household, making plans, texting about logistics, and the completely understandable impulse from the hurt partner is to communicate at their own level of pain. Harsh, cutting, punishing communication. And again, it is really, really, really understandable. Stone might be thinking, wait, am I supposed to be nice here? Iron lies, cheats, betrays me, and I'm supposed to what? Lie down and take it? I don't think so. And honestly, Stone's right. What a nightmare. But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying Stone should swallow their pain. I'm saying the bridge isn't strong enough to carry that weight. Later in the process, Stone will have the opportunity to send those messages across the bridge, the hurt, the anger, the heartbreak. And at that point, Iron will be strong enough to truly receive it. But now, unfortunately, sending that kind of traffic across a bridge that is still under construction just causes more damage and makes the work longer. Okay, so now let's fast forward to the point at which both partners have rebuilt and the sides are now touching. But you can see that the bridge is not strong enough to hold a lot of weight. So, what do they do? If they open it up to traffic, it's liable to collapse again. So, they can only open one lane of traffic. That is as much as the bridge can hold at this early stage. So, who gets to go first? The hurt partner sends their cars across first. Those cards are their stories about their experience. The hurt partner gets to describe the pain, the damage, the identity collapse. And what does the other partner do? The acting out partner simply receives the traffic and tries to understand without defensiveness, without their side of the story, without arguing, simply understanding. It will require incredible humility and compassion and strength, which is why it needs to happen after rebuilding. If this conversation keeps collapsing, additional strengthening may be required. I've made an illustrated guide to this process that you can download as a PDF. There's a link in the description below. What's important to know about betrayal is that it is experienced as trauma. The hurt partner's nervous system is so activated that they frequently have symptoms of PTSD. Even though the triggers will become less frequent as time goes on, they will still happen years after the event. You hear a song, you experience an anniversary, you feel a lack of trust. Any of these things can trigger an activated nervous system. They are not a sign that you are going backwards. They are not a sign that there has been no recovery. They are simply a normal part of the process. For someone who has gone through a traumatic event, triggers will happen. And when they do, the hurt partner's side of the bridge cracks again and has to temporarily close for repair. Here's what actually repairs the triggers. If iron can sit in the discomfort of stone's pain with understanding, empathy, and humility, and if iron can understand how they contributed to this pain, the temporary closure will be short lived. Not only that, when iron can truly take responsibility and accept stone's pain, the bridge begins to be reinforced with understanding and empathy. The more genuine accountability and empathy felt by the acting out partner, the stronger the bridge becomes. Empathy is not just kindness in this situation, it's actual reinforcement material. Eventually, the bridge becomes strong enough with the reinforcement of empathy and accountability to be able to withstand two-way traffic. And this is the point at which iron can start sending their traffic as well. What they've learned about themselves, what they are trying to change, what they want to shift in the relationship, and what this has cost them. And the hurt partner needs to be strong enough to be able to hear this as well. They need to be curious about why did you do this without jumping to why did you do this to me? And when the bridge is strong enough to hold both perspectives and stories, it can be transformative because the goal was never to go back to the old bridge. The goal was to build a new bridge that is strong enough to carry the truth. And that bridge, if built well, can be stronger and better than anything they had before. Betrayal can destroy a bridge, but it doesn't have to destroy a future together. Now that you've seen the map, you may be wondering what these stages actually look like in a real relationship. In the next video, I break down a couple from Blue Therapy who are trying to rebuild after a betrayal and show you exactly where they get stuck. You can watch that here, and I'll see you next time.